As the apogee solstice approaches, it is genuinely terrifying how quickly that is happening. Bells Hells reflect, prepare, and get ready for action. Lots of spoilers in this episode, so please be warned. Aboard the skyship, Orem, who has a passive perception so high that he can see past Vax's stealth rolls.
We notice when you sneak off. You do know that, right?
Yeah.
No, my rolls are too high. You really don't.
Notices a faint shifting of colours in the sky, swirling and moving. We learn later in the episode that this is the effect of the interaction between the ley lines and the apogee solstice, and that this is a global effect because Dorian can see it too, all the way in Tal'Dorei. Some of the party can feel a tangible effect in the air, and Ashton rages, causing this sort of spark to drift across his head.
If it was me, I haven't actually had that ever happen before, so that's usually, I mean, things happen that don't happen before. That felt weird, even for me. And I don't really do things just sort of happen to me.
Things happen that haven't happened before.
Yes.
Life needs things to live.
I know that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Such a thing.
This is, of course, referencing the infamous line from Percy from Campaign 1.
Life needs things to live. That's so poetic.
It's...
And we also get a deep cut from Travis. This is referencing a tweet that Matt made in early 2022 when autocorrect betrayed him. And speaking of Travis, it turns out this is not Chetney's first time seeing this effect. He saw it before in his younger years over the skies of Wildmount, like an aurora borealis. The interaction between the ley lines and an apogee solstice has been explored before in EXU Calamity, when Laren utilized the shifting of the ley lines to create a new one.
It's a mediocre mind that tries to replicate what's already been. We're going to go somewhere new now.
Yes.
All of us.
Yes.
Once again, we are seeing wizards with hubris messing with the ley lines. I love you, Laren, but you had so much hubris. The party have several days aboard the skyship to try and plan what they're going to do and how they could possibly go up against the overwhelming odds before them. And I think they're right to be worried. This apogee solstice stuff feels like campaign-ending, world-breaking TPK business. FCG floats the idea of using themselves as an arcane bomb, infiltrating the Tishtan dig site and self-detonating, a prediction that I made in an earlier video that I really hope doesn't come true. FCG, no. That plan is quickly squashed by the rest of the group, but Chetney suggests that maybe they could use the skyship crashing into the Malleus Key and hopefully destroying it. So they put that plan in the back pocket, you know, as like a plan B, just in case. They compile a list of potential allies, and so begins the Sending Palooza, the Sending Extravaganza, the Sending Spectacular. I don't know what I'm doing. They message Ashton's friend Milo to ask them to get the nobodies back together.
Ashton wants their friends back. The nobodies reassembled.
Letters? You're fucking with me.
Okay, so the nobodies probably aren't gonna show up. They message Nanamari to see if she can help.
If there's anything you can do. Also, do you know how to bring somebody back that's been turned to stone?
I'll be watching. And I'll do what I can. When I can. And yes, there are ways.
Okay, so Mori probably can't help with the Malleus Key, though she might be able to help with unpetrifying Rin. Although I doubt she is gonna do that without something being offered in return. Bells Hells may want to get a lawyer to look over that deal. They send a message to Pike.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Robo buddy. Let me see what I can find.
They message Ebenold Kai, the member of the Grim Verity, who is hiding from Vasselheim's forces.
We still are waiting in Rin's domain.
They can't leave.
They
can't
leave.
Oh, stuck in the elemental plane of fire, hey? That's not great. They message Ashton's former employer, Gianna Hexam, to get help with supplies.
Drop my name on Eunice.
Eunice?
You know Eunice in the Samarkand Strip is actually a general supplies dealer in the Raha Den where you guys stayed.
I guess it's nice to know that Hexam is just a ruthless criminal coordinator and doesn't actually seem to have a stake in the Vanguard's success. That's comforting, I guess. They message Imahara Joe and ask him to make a big arcane bomb that they can use to blow up the Malleus Key, and FCG activates mercenary mode.
Grass here. Need a bomb. Can pay. And a single rider vehicle. Fast. 6 days delivered to Calloway Getaway.
They message Fern's parents and ask them to pick up the bomb from Joe, and they also message Dorian asking if he can somehow get to them.
Really going at that stone.
Or that's a cookie.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Dorian.
Still talking into a cookie.
Dorian.
Our jobs are weird.
Update. People we're chasing. Unleashing hell in a week. There's a crumb out of my mouth. That's not part of the message. We're headed there now. Odds not good. Where are you?
Orem, with the rest of the Crown Keepers in Taldor, eh? Opal's getting a little dark.
Oh, shit.
Little busy at the moment. I don't even know how to get to you.
Opal is getting a little dark, huh? Quick catch up for those who didn't watch EXU Prime. Opal is Amy Carrero's character, and she is a human warlock and absolute chaos gremlin who wears a vestige, but a bad vestige, a betrayer god vestige, the Circlet of Barbed Vision, which is connected to Lolth the Spider Queen, the evil god of deceit, shadows, and spiders.
Just gonna put it on.
Yes!
Oh boy!
I'm into it.
You grab the crown.
Yeah.
And you hold it over your head. And before you can finish, because you're still even in that last second hesitating, you feel the thorns get a little longer and reach and touch your scalp. And begin to bury themselves into your scalp. You feel the fresh flow of blood. And
The group from EXU called themselves the Crown Keepers because they vowed to keep the crown away from those who might use it for evil. But it seems like maybe the call was coming from inside the house. I wonder if the mention of these events might be hinting at another Exandria Unlimited series with the Crown Keepers in the future, and then I spent an inadvisable amount of time trolling through Abria Iyengar's Twitter to see if I could find any clue, but no such luck. I also didn't appreciate Matt basically confirming that Dorian is not coming back anytime soon.
What if we just bring back every guest we've ever had tomorrow? Cool. Cool, yeah. Yeah.
Zara, this is Orem.
Come on, we can fit a few more chairs around that table, surely. The group also reach out to an unlikely ally, the Nightmare King, Ira Wendigoth, and he agrees?
Ira, have some fun for ya. We're gonna fuck up the Malleus Key at Tishton. You wanna play?
That was so hot.
They arranged to pick him up from the Calloway Layaway. And lastly, unrelated to the Apogee Solstice business, FCG sends a message to the mysterious D, the merchant who sold the dancer who wears a metallic mask.
Smiley day there. Yellow automaton you sold in Bosseros to Dancer. Do you know where you picked me up? And are there more of me?
A wonderful surprise.
What?
That is my gift to you. A return to your own path. I pulled you from the wreckage, and your future is yours to make. And there are more of you. And more to come.
Okay, this has to be Devexian, right? The Aeomaton the Mighty Nine found and repaired during Campaign 2. You know, the voice is similar.
And I'm grateful for your aid in restoring myself. Might I ask, what has transpired here?
Wow. Can we walk and talk?
And the cast certainly seem to believe that it's the same person by how thirsty they are being.
I feel sexually awakened.
Wait, where?
Blade.
Is it time to get a dildonic device?
Teledildonic device?
Yeah.
Is your tongue rigid? The meat tongue? Is it
It's engorged.
Well-
It's engorged and moist.
turgid? Touche, motherfucker.
But that mystery will have to stay mysterious for now because they've got solstice stuff to deal with. One person who could prove to be helpful is Imogen's mother, so she again reaches out to her in her dreams with FCG, Orem, and Fern for company, and asks Liliana if she can help them and if she knows that what she's doing is wrong.
I think you misunderstand what's going on here. The world will be saved at the end of this. And we'll be free.
The world will be eaten at the end of this, and we'll be gone.
I wish you could see the things that I can see.
Show me.
Alrighty, so Liliana has drunk the Kool-Aid. She is fully on board with destroying the gods and releasing an ancient, all-consuming destructive power, and her and Imogen are on opposite sides of this fight. But for a brief moment, maybe not, because Imogen is slightly swayed. Liliana shows her an image of Predathos being released and a new future with endless, unburdened possibility, and this almost wins Imogen over. She asks, maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe my mom is onto something. And Liam, just the absolutely outstanding improvised role player that he is, delivers this gut-punching line.
Well, Imogen, I wish my family didn't have to die for her brighter tomorrow.
You're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
This really feels like the central tension to this whole narrative, right? What are the gods good for? What do they provide? And is it worth the perceived cost? In Exandrian history, humanity, and I mean not just like humans, but all of the different peoples, they've gotten caught up in the wars and battles of the gods. And even with the gods behind the divine gate, they still hold some sway and influence. Is it worth sacrificing some people to allow future generations to make their own choices and to not be used as pawns in this kind of cosmic game of chess? Well, Ashton certainly doesn't think so.
See, this is what happens when you start externalizing every fucking problem that you have. Easy to take a look at. There's a bunch of people who are treating other people just like they're fucking nothing, like they're fucking pawns. It doesn't matter what the fuck they want. They are doing it wrong. It is not hard to see. You're being fucked with. We're all being fucked with. Whatever the fuck they say that they're doing, that's where I draw the line. If they had such a great idea of what the world was supposed to be and what that thing was, they could just tell people. But instead, they're making everybody miserable. They're killing people. Fuck that, fuck them, and I'm gonna be more than happy to drop a fucking ship on them.
I agree with Ashton.
After a few days of uneventful travel with just one dust storm, they arrive at the Calloway Layaway and meet up with Fern's parents, Ollie and Birdie, and Ira, the night making. Things are a little tense given their previous encounters, but Ira is seemingly on board with destroying the key to get back at Ludinus and the Ruby Vanguard for kicking him from the project. Ira shows FCG the Tishtan excavation site through the telescope he built here in the Calloway Layaway, and FCG sees that the Ruby Vanguard are hard at work welding things to the Malleus key, and that there are lots of arcane constructions being added in that Aeorian style that FCG recognized earlier. But not only that, there is an arcane pulse every minute or so, which disrupts the connection to the telescope. This is some kind of dispelling magic, likely added as part of the Malleus key's defenses since the Fey key was destroyed, and hopefully the Shadowfell one was destroyed as well. Now, a lot can happen in 1 minute, especially since 1 minute in D&D combat turns is 10 rounds, but it is going to make things trickier for Bell's Hells, especially if they're planning on using magic to sneak in or infiltrate. Orym, Ashton, and Imogen head into town to get some supplies on the crawlers, utilizing the contact that Hexam gave them, Eunice, who has a secret back door in his store filled with illicit goods. They end up picking up an amulet of health, which increases your constitution score to 19, giving a nice little hit point boost, a circlet of the hidden eye, which protects the wearer from mind reading and makes you hard to find, and a belt of momentum that gives additional damage if you take a run up before attacking and lets you try to knock an opponent over. I think those last two items are homebrew, from what I can tell. They also pick up 2 greater healing potions, which give 4d4 plus 4 healing. I am sure that those will come in handy. With the party reunited, the bomb safely stored on the ship, and the Nightmare King aboard, the Silver Sun takes off for the last leg of the journey. Sitting cooped up in a skyship gives a lot of time for some character heart-to-hearts, which was great because it felt like it had been ages since we'd had any kind of deep and meaningful conversations between characters. First up, Lordna and Ashton have a little chat, where Ashton, who is a little drunk at the time, admits to some anger and jealousy towards the rest of the group.
I hate you all a little, you know that, right?
Are you jealous of us because you feel like we have more of an identity than you?
I am jealous of you because I know things you don't. I know loneliness that you don't. I know the truth of people that none of you do.
Lordna pushes back on this, rightfully so, and reminds Ashton that she was alone for literally decades. That's why she made pate, because she didn't have any friends. She sort of reminds him that you're not the only one with issues. Ashton clearly has a lot of walls up. They clearly are struggling with a lot of trauma in their past, and they haven't really had a chance to deal with it in the way that maybe some of the other characters in the group have. And this is, of course, also further complicated by Ashton experiencing chronic pain. Everything is kind of colored through that lens. I did see Taliesin kind of cop a lot of flack for the way he was role-playing Ashton, and you know what? I actually really enjoy it. I think Ashton is a deeply flawed character, and there's going to be a lot of fantastic room there for growth. I really trust Taliesin is going to take us on a wonderful, incredible journey with Ashton. You know, if we survive the solstice, that is. Laudna pushes Ashton for some more details about their past, because as she points out, we really don't know much about them. Ashton has very few memories of what happened to his family, just an accident and watching a family member get ripped apart by it and ending up in Bassaras. The whole reason that he joined up with this group of misfits is because he heard Orym say the word Ashari. Our next heart-to-heart is between Fern and Orym, who express some concern about Imogen going over to the dark side. They make a pact that they won't let her, with Fern using her spells and Orym using his sword skills if it comes to that. Imogen also checks in with Orym about how he is feeling about the fact that he and his husband Will called each other Big Moon and Little Moon, now that we know that all of this stuff about Ruidus. Is that memory sort of tainted now for Orym?
That's me and him. Anyway, that thing has been in the sky for a long time. A lot of people have laughed and wept under it. Had children, put their parents in the ground. None of that is meaningless, and that's true for me too.
The party are still rolling events for each day of travel, and while they have had a pretty good run of it on this last leg of the journey, we do get two pretty wild random events. The first one is that they get attacked by a fiery bird, which I think might have been an ember rock from Tal'Dorei Reborn, and it begins chasing the ship with Xandus, taking it down and bouncing it off the sand dunes, veering around, trying to lose it. Imogen successfully casts command on it, telling it to leave, but since that spell only lasts for one round, it quickly turns back around and follows, and then Fern has a moment of inspiration.
Polymorph! Oh, yeah.
Polymorph. Okay, what are you turning it into? Or trying to?
A goldfish.
This is a throwback to the infamous Campaign 1 moment where Keyleth jumped off a cliff and turned into a goldfish.
Keyleth scatters across the edge of the rock and just crumples into the surf and is now floating.
Wait, what?
They also find themselves in some arcane winds, with the energy buzzing from the shifting ley lines intersecting with the dust storms of the Hellcatch Valley. And it's like they're in an anime fight scene, clouds and lightning and magic sparks everywhere. This is a classic skill check where they need 3 successes to get out of it, and something bad happens with 3 failures. FCG casts Shield on Xandus, but rolls...
Okay, well, that's a natural 1.
So the shield interacts with the arcane winds and acts as a lightning rod, with lightning shooting across the ship from Xandus and zapping all of them. Because it is a natural 1, this counts as 2 failures. Next, Chetney climbs up into the rigging and is keeping a keen eye on the masts, ready to repair any damage. That is counted as a successful check. And lastly, Orym taking Seedling
and jams Seedling down into the wood face down, and vines go out onto the deck. And I take my hands off of it and say a little prayer to the goddess who booned me this, and hope it acts as a lightning rod and just keeps it off everyone else.
Lightning strikes the sword. It ramps up with intensity, and this massive lightning blast ends up striking the front of the ship and the front of the Silver Sun.
Oh no!
Explodes outward, exposing part of the front of the ship's deck below.
Oh no, that is a failure, and Xandus has to take the ship down. They lose most of the day repairing the ship while the energy of the ley lines grows around them. And speaking of seeds... Great segue, Luna. Thanks, Luna. Orym feels a pulsing in his bag and takes out a seed. This is the seed that was given to him all the way back in EXU Prime by Tetrak Thrasser. Hope I said that right. He takes it out and they find a crate and some soil to plant it in. They give it some water and it blooms into a flower. This is a message bloom, and the message is from Keyleth.
The cult of the dark heart beneath Terra was a challenging maze of dangers for the Ashari present, but the Darkheart Behemoth was dealt with, and the rift returned to its controlled state. We lost some good warriors in that fight, but their sacrifice will be remembered and cherished. I message you because I attempted to apprehend Vario, the head of this Ashari sect of betrayers, but he vanished, shouting The Vanguard will prevail, and the world will finally be free. We couldn't stop him. But given all you've told me, and the signs pointing to a connection between these events, it would seem our paths are converging. Please let us know where this Vanguard makes its work. Perhaps I can gather those who can recover within the Ashari. Just help stand against Ludinus and his Vanguard.
Once the message is done, the seed crumbles away. All right, we're gonna get to the message because there is a lot of stuff to unpack there, but first, I gotta talk about this seed. Did anyone else find this kind of anticlimactic? You know, Aurum has been carrying around this seed for a really long time, and us critters have been speculating wildly about what it could be for ages. I was a really big fan of the theory that it was somehow connected to the Tree of Names in EXU Calamity, and that Aurum was gonna plant it to help stabilize the ley lines or something. I don't know, it really felt like something significant and special, and then it just sort of turns out that it was just a fancy sending spell. Why did Tetrarch Thasser give it to Aurum in the first place? And did Keyleth know that Aurum had it but never told Aurum what it was? I don't know, it just didn't really add up for me. I think maybe what happened with this is maybe Abria had some plans for it that didn't end up coming to fruition in EXU, and then Matt just decided, you know, we'll find a good time to use it in Campaign 3, and this is what he came up with. The Keylethvry, the Cavalryth. I'm trying to smash cavalry and Keyleth into the same word, but it's really not working. Anyway, the cavalry is coming! All right, let's unpack this. The Ruby Vanguard had infiltrated the Ashari, and it seems like they purposefully released a Dark Heart Behemoth, whatever that is. If you know what that is, let me know, because I couldn't find anything about it. This treasonous sect, which Keyleth actually hinted to in earlier episodes, was led by someone called Vurio. And I don't think this is a name that has come up before, correct me if I'm wrong. Vurio managed to escape, but it seems like they released this Dark Heart Behemoth potentially to tie up the Ashari's forces so that they wouldn't be able to interfere with the Vanguard's plans. Maybe, at least that's my theory about it. Since this event is related to the Ruby Vanguard, Keyleth says that she will gather who she can and rendezvous with Bell's Hells to help. Huzzah! This honestly really surprised me. I thought for sure that Matt was gonna make it that all of the really high-powered NPCs would be busy away doing other things and that Bell's Hells would have to deal with it themselves. Maybe it was always planned that Keyleth would help, or maybe Matt picked up on the fact that the players and the audience were feeling like this was a fight they couldn't win and decided to, you know, give us a bit of hope. So who do we think Keyleth is bringing with her? Any other members of Vox Machina? Let me know who you want to see show up. So speaking of the cavalry, there has also been a lot of speculation that Bo and Caleb might show up, since Matt had Marisha and Liam make some mystery rolls a couple of episodes ago, which might have been for Bo and Caleb. Considering they both made it their mission to keep an eye on Ludinus, it would be pretty surprising if they didn't have some inkling about what was going on. Could episode 50 give us a Bell's Hells, Vox Machina, and Mighty Nine team up? Ah! Wild if true. And finally, on the final night, the evening before the solstice, Laudna and Imogen talk for what feels like the first time in ages, and the Imaudna shippers were fed.
I love you so much. I love you more than anything.
Now, I know a lot of shippers took this as evidence of a romantic connection between the two, and you know, I wholeheartedly support that, but I think this conversation still gives scope for this to be a very close, intimate friendship. I think there is a lot to be said for having, you know, a kind of deep friendship like that portrayed, because those do absolutely exist. But, you know, I wouldn't be mad if they end up in a romantic relationship either. I don't know, are you a shipper? How you doing out there? You didn't self-combust? So with this being the day of the solstice, it's happening, this is it, it's happening, the next episode, we're gonna see the solstice. My big question is, what is gonna happen next? This really feels like a campaign ending event, but we do still have a lot of time left in campaign 3, or at least, you know, we can assume so. Are there gonna be any gods left after episode 50? Is Exandria going to look completely different? Let me know your theories in the comments, and don't forget to join my Discord to discuss with other Ruidus enthusiasts. And even though Vox Machina may swing in to save the day, revisit their old murder hobo days with me in this campaign 1 breakdown. Bye!